It's Friday.
And you're listening to So I Married an Entrepreneur, a podcast about what it takes to be in a relationship with that eternal optimist who spread thinner than melted butter on hot toast.
Yes, they're crazy. And we wouldn't have it any other way.
Life's an adventure, and they're the magic ingredient.
So how do you embrace your spouse and enjoy the ride?
We share what it's taken to keep our relationship just as much a priority as our business ventures.
The strategies we crafted and curated to manage the stress,
The inevitable conflict, differences of opinions.
and facing our fears together. Grab a beer.
We sure will, and enjoy the show. Maya.
Okay. Dame cerveza, por favor.
Happy Friday, Maya.
Yay! It's Friday. And I'm gonna be working tomorrow.
And I'm still a little sick. I hate being sick.
Who doesn't? Because it's like you get sick and you don't get to just lay down, watch movies all day long because you need to work. And then even if you try to do that for a full day, it's boring.
To sit and just watch movies, you mean?
Yeah, like not doing anything.
Yeah. The notion of not doing anything, unless you're in a cabin in the woods where you actually have no choice,
I need that.
it's almost impossible.
Yeah, I really need to do something like that. And I think we should start at least one day to go and maybe a quick walk or something outside the city. See the trees, the mountains. I don't know, it just feels go all the time.
That's because that's what we're doing. All the time.
So how was your week besides being sick?
Nasally. My week was nasally. Still woke up early. Still did work, which is, it's good that I was able to do that. I didn't want to do it though. It was really a challenge to wake up and be able to focus to get that stuff done. Actually, I don't really want to talk about our week per se. I mean, there's things that have definitely happened during the week that are worth talking about, but there's one in particular that I want to, well, we touched on it a little bit. We do this. We touch on it earlier, and then it takes something to kind of get the momentum built again.
We were in the kitchen for lunch, and I said, was that a new video?
Yep. Yeah, so a friend of ours posted a video on Thursday, yesterday, and she had a real concern for her young son taking his life for many reasons, and this is not a new thing, it's an ongoing thing. And she was very vulnerable in putting herself out there and saying what she needed to say in the moment. And I'm grateful that she shared that, because this has been an ongoing concern, like not a concern like hers, like I don't have the same concern that she has, because we're not dealing with what she's dealing with. And I know that can very easily shift and change. And there is a real need for more tighter community. And it's hard to create community,
Yeah.
especially in a COVID world, to create connection with others.
Yeah. Like we didn't even do it when there was no COVID. And now that there is, that we feel literally isolated. Before I feel that we have that escape of
You had the option.
yeah, I'm gonna go see, you will see a lot of people around, get busy by commuting to all these places. Sometimes it was just seeing people. It's, hey, how's it going? Meeting, whatever.
Yeah, it's still surface level in a lot of ways. Although I've gotten a lot better at not doing surface level. But now that we're not doing that, and it's Zoom, right? We're Zooming everywhere.
And everybody asks, well, yeah, how are you? And, oh, I'm good, fine, good, yes. okay, what is the point of this goal? And then you get to that and that's it. And nobody talks about what's happening behind all that
Yeah.
and how lonely we're feeling.
Well, and Connie does a really great job of doing that already. We've had her on the podcast actually once before. And she's very open about what goes on. And I think that is the opportunity, the responsibility, the obligation for all of us is to be willing to put it out there in that way, not from a disempowering context. Give me like the handout. We don't need more of that in the world. We need brave vulnerability that has now the possibility for an action to happen, for a step to be taken, for people to kind of unite and rally around something versus screaming wolf, right? And it can be that way. I mean, look at what's on social media now. It's a whole lot of crying wolf and a whole lot of pointing fingers and not taking responsibility for whatever the thing is that is not working. And that's tiring and exhausting and causing more of the problem that her son is dealing with. And not even her son, he's not yet on social media to that capacity, but certainly adults. We don't know what to do anymore. We're completely paralyzed.
Yeah, with some of the things that she shared about the school and all that, we as adults, I feel that we forget about what was to be that age. And for some of us that are a little bit more outgoing and extroverts and a little bit more resilient was easier. But for some of those people that were introverts and didn't know how to interact, and now that I'm an adult and I have kids, and how do you talk to them? How do you not, because I remember back then it's like, oh, my mom and my dad are silly. They don't know anything about my life and how I feel and how things need to happen. And now kids look at us and it's like, well, they don't know anything. It's like, well, we went through that, but it's a completely different world to what our parents lived, what we lived, and what kids nowadays are living.
It'll always be that. There
Yeah.
will always be a new version of an old problem because the circumstances are never the same.
Yeah, so my point is that things are different and we don't know how to approach kids now. And we want them to be something they're not. You need to behave this way. You need to do this because I said so. That's not how it works.
No, and the real takeaway for me in listening to what she had to say was a recalibration for us as a family. And not just you and I doing the recalibrating, but really as a family recalibrating and getting connected to, I can't say reconnected because I can't honestly say that we've done the deeper work to have everybody on board and in agreement and alignment with what's important for us as a family, what's important for us as individuals. There's just assumptions. Now you and I, we have conversations. Okay, so fair enough. There is more than just assumptions on that front, but the kids are along for the ride. They are along for the assumption that what we're doing, they agree with and that they have bought into it. But they haven't bought into it because we haven't enrolled them in the idea that is creating life together. So they're just along for the ride. Not that there's anything wrong with it right now. They are enjoying life as far as I can tell. And it can will very quickly pivot and we will be caught surprised. I look at our current status quo, right? The business as usual in our family. And where we're at right now, I'll look at dinner, for example. Dinner it's cooked and put on plates, and then the kids go downstairs and they watch a show, and we watch our show. And that happened for whatever reason that it happened. I don't really care about that. There's nothing bad about it. If that were to continue, the gap between us and them will become substantial. The relatedness and awareness of each other's current state, mindset, happiness, there's no awareness of that at all.
Yeah, there's things that I know they love doing with us. And before, we always sit at the table, and they were in school. We talk a little bit about it. We are always trying to ask and see what's happening. You're more than me. But I feel that we need to come back to that interaction that we used to have, even though we're homeschooling now. And I feel that we're a little bit closer, but at the same time, it's like, I need to do my thing. And sometimes it's like either you're taking over or I'm taking over some of this homeschooling. It's like, how do we make it that it is both for the kids and for the adult I experience that is enjoyable? Because the moment we just start getting frustrated about things that we're doing with them or them with us, I feel that's when the disconnection happens, and it's like, I'm done with this. Like, you're not getting what I want to do, and we're not getting them because we want them to do the thing that we want them to do.
Well, we don't even know what that is half the time. We just are running our own automatic.
Yeah, well, that's why we had the conversation last. It's like, how do we want to learn? And they're learning, and it's a new system, and it's a new learning for us too.
Well, and it's not even about schooling. I'm not even referring to schooling. It is a bigger conversation. Schooling fits inside of that.
Yeah, like, I was just like one of the examples that show of like, how do we understand each other, and how do you get them to not impose you need to learn, but like, what are you interested in learning? And yes, they need to learn a bunch of other things, but it's the same, like connecting in a more emotional level and a vulnerable level. You cannot connect in that level if you're not interested in why or what is that is making them emotional. Isabella wanting to know about sex. She asks you, and it's like, okay, let's do some of that exploration about like how to talk to them, because we have no idea. She's interested, and my parents never talked to me about it. Then we want them to have all the tools, and we want to be able to keep connected all the time and not have a snap of like, what happened? Who's this kid?
Well, and that's the thing that I really want to address, is this surprise of life having gone by, and we had no say in the matter of how it was to go, how it should have gone, and what we wanted to have inside of it. All of us. So the kids and us, there is this real need for getting each other on a deeper level, to have the conversation from a values perspective, like what's important to you, striving for understanding in the moment. There's like a reset. Getting where we got to is just what it was, and that's all good. And now what we're creating moving forward is with more intention, honoring the need for each other's space, passions and pursuits. Like we can't come in like an army and regulate the shit out of it. It's too much of an extreme on the other side. It doesn't work. But there is some things that I feel like we should come together to collaborate around and to get a base level understanding and agreement from everybody to then build on top of from there.
We've been talking about creating our own mantra, or like our own mission as a family.
Like, yeah, it's like a bit of a manifesto.
Yeah. And
what our values are.
Yeah, and getting them to understand what that means.
A conversation about looking inwards, asking the question, who are you? Like if somebody were to ask you that question that has never met you before, how would you talk about and explain who you are to them so that they understand what it is that you like and don't like, what it is that you are fascinated by and want to explore, or what it is that you are scared of, like all of those things at its basic, and then to build on contextually, like on top of that, it's like, well, once they understand that, I would imagine it would be a very easy conversation to, and for us to lead by example. It's like, well, here's a thing that I hold very valuable.
Yeah, and I feel that we have been doing some of it. Yes, we can do more. And I feel that at the end of the day, we do what our best in that moment. But yeah, I love that they can come and just ask. And yeah, they might not be that open sometimes, but they end up telling you, or you can like tell because you can read the
But
kids.
only because I'm paying attention. And if I'm busy doing my thing, like go upstairs, get out of here, I got things to do, whatever that is, then I miss that. I won't be aware of it because
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of times that we will miss stuff. And just putting a structure, not really, just being there, being with them, doing things together. It's the only way we can get to know each other.
you open that door.
Kid number 3? Yeah, we're recording.
What's going on? What's up? I'm gonna come up here. You have the weirdest way of loving. It's like almost touching, but not. My point is there is work to be done.
Yes, always.
What's in place right now doesn't work. It's status quo. It's like default in a lot of ways. And unless we are willing to be okay with that being a potential outcome, like our version of that being a potential outcome, okay, yeah, we can continue justifying that how we're showing up is okay, and yeah, it's not the best, but that will not create the space that will have them and us at a level of communication and a level of connection where everybody is aware and willing to do what needs to be done in the moment it needs to be done.
Yep. There's a reason why we so honest talk. And the more we talk about it and the more we get together with other families, and it starts with us, the 4 of us. It's like, what do we want as a family to grow? And
that's the question really to ask, is what do we want as a family?
Yeah. And from there, then when we're good and we understand what we want, we can help others.
Yeah, we can't possibly, and Connie pointed to this, and this is the other tendency, right? I got to go fix that out there. They need help over there. There's a jumping into solving other people's problems.
Yeah.
We try and put out other people's fires with best intentions. We really genuinely, and there were a lot of people that rallied around to want to help her. And no doubt many very capable of helping, but lacks the commonality, the connection, the trust, and the knowing and the connection at that level to be able to do that kind of work wasn't in place. And so that means the community gets to not just throw their hands up and go, oh, I tried, or I don't know what to do, but to really look at, who can I support in that capacity? Who do I know? Who is within arm's reach in my own personal network, community, family that requires, needs, demands that level of intervention before something really tragic does happen? Who are those people? Because just helping those that are the cry for help, I mean, it's coming from the wrong place then to do it that way. because your house is not in order yet. And and this is the conversation that I had with the Just Life guys.
I was just going to point at that.
There's an opportunity for us to do something. We must do something, absolutely. As a group of men coming together who are beginning the process of forming deeper connected bonds with each other, and still very much in its early years, doesn't have the strength yet for it. And each of us are dealing and grappling with our own stuff. And that's what I said is like, as much as I want to help Connie and her boy, and maybe there is an opportunity to do so, I'm also very present to how much work my own house requires. And that's where I really got to make sure I spend the time to be selfish, and in that context now, to be selfish and do the inner work first before I could ever possibly be in a place to support somebody else. And then to your point, so to say that you have a solution is bullshit and part of the problem. And even Connie mentions, like, stop telling me about the programs that my son should go in. Yeah. The programs that you have available, he's not interested in that. He doesn't fucking know you. So no, he's not interested in your program, and it's not about that. But that's part of just what happens, right? Best intention, again, there's no ill will there, but we must spend more time listening and less time solving the problem. And as a man, I love to jump in and solve the problem because I got the answer. I also know I don't have the answer. It's this great little balancing act.
Yeah, I reached out to her and told her about, not that I'm selling any type of program or anything, but the idea that you had about superpower camp and bringing men together to start connecting with others and like starting to be a little bit more vulnerable and not just showing up as like, yeah, I'm strong and nothing hurts me and I'm like Superman. Like, it would be awesome. We don't know how a program would be because everybody is so different.
Well, yeah, that's what Connie was talking about, right? Like, she's tried that.
Yeah.
Her boy's been in programs that we're supposed to be the right fit, and we're not the right fit.
Yeah. Everybody is so different. Yeah. And it is not about a program where you're gonna be like, you know what? This is the best because we do these exercises and everybody gets it.
Yeah,
it's
none
like,
of that matters. It's about community is really what it comes down to.
It still feels like I haven't built that community at all. And I notice that people invite me to things and sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'll go. And I might have the best time, but just to get me out of my comforts, I don't want to go. It's just like, I have to get ready, get there. Like Alistair and the friends in nursery. It's not that far away, it's 20 minutes. Before I would go anywhere. Now I don't go anywhere because all the reasons. Oh, they're in nursery. Oh no, they're in the deep south. I cannot see them. So then I'm in my little bubble, hanging out with just us. And then there's me like, I need something to do something different. But then when somebody invites me, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's part of it.
And so we keep our bubbles very, very tight and very small. And it's up to us, really.
I really believe that when we have that clarity for ourselves and understanding for ourselves about what's important and valuable to us, we will seek out those things that are aligned with that out in the world. We're caught in this nebulous space between yes or no. There's no power there for us. So that's the opportunity. That's the work to be done. And it starts with sitting together and having conversations. And there's sacred space and sacred moments that just can't be compromised because they are pillars. They are foundational to be able to build strong structure on top of. That's the thing that I'm really clear on needs to be done. And so that's what we will do. because that's just who we are, is we see it and we see the gap and we fill it. And this time, the only difference is there is really a co-creation with the kids, more and more, as much as possible, to bring them into those conversations of co-creation and figure it out and just continue to pull for it, even though it might not look the way we hope.
Yeah. They love bringing their own ideas and being acknowledged for them, as we love to get acknowledged for whatever we say and create. So encouraging that right now, when they are still little, feeling that they're heard, I think that will make a difference in how we're growing as a family.
I find it so interesting. Whether you're a family or a company, it is irrelevant. If you have not done the work to get clear what is important and what matters internally, there is nothing that you can do that will be long-lasting externally that will make the difference. Nothing. Full stop, end of story.
Yeah.
And so when we do the work internally, then what happens is the opportunity for us to do the things out there in the world, to be physically active, to be social, to create connection, whatever those things are, we know what they need to be out there, so we know what we're looking for. We know it. And so it's easy to make a decision. Do we do this? Yes or no? Is it aligned with who we are as a family? Yep. Well, I guess it's yes then, isn't it? Versus, I don't know. If it's an I don't know, it's because you really don't know. And we keep battling with that.
Yeah. And it's also part of life. If we don't try it, we would never know. But like being a little bit clear of things that you like and you don't, and things that you are allowing in your life, or you're like done with it, to move on.
There's foundational questions that we get to ask of ourselves, of each and every one of us. And you and I have done some of this work already. And now we get to bring our kids through that same process at a level that they understand. And this is what we get to be really diligent and vigilant in, the awareness, right? Like our listening and paying attention of how it is received, so that they understand it. Like there is a comprehension on their side of things, so that they feel heard and understood. And then, and only then, can co-creation really begin.
I feel, for example, in my side of family, mom and dad worked full-time all their lives. Like I barely remember my parents at home. I was always with the maid or grandpa or grandma, either from my mom or dad's side, or with my aunts. They would pick us up from school and things like that. But my dad would make sure that if he felt something, he would come and talk.
I'm relentless when it comes to that. I will not give up until I hear what's going on.
And I would hate it because, I would react exactly like my mom. Because why are you asking me that? You should be reading my mind.
Yeah, you should just know.
Yeah. But at the same time, it helped to keep opening, like not being close to that. Now you're in my life, and now we're married.
And now you can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
At all, ever. Now we're on a podcast, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, it's awesome to see how, even though we didn't have the best communication with our parents, we are striving for that for our kids. And in our relationships, as a couple, as a business partners, as parents, as friends. Enough of like talking about the weather, where did you buy your purse, like who cares?
I don't.
It's just, yeah, you look awesome, thank you so much, and how you doing, for real.
Thank you for listening to the So I'm Married an Entrepreneur podcast series on the Just Life.
Love the episode?
Head over to iTunes or Spotify to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. We'd sure appreciate it.
I dare you to join us in the studio for Friday session.
Let us know. Could be a good option for that date night you keep saying you want to plan. We'll be back again next week, celebrating wins and revealing what goes on behind the curtains.
Did you relate to something in this episode?
We'd love to know in the comments. Or, if you prefer, you can send us a private message or email us. Have a great rest of your weekend.